Welcome, everyone. I'm super excited for this first artist webinar of the year. Thank you so much for joining us. I see lots of people still trickling in. So if you want to just pop into chat, say hello, let us know your name and where you're located. We'll give it a minute or two before we get started. There we go. Sometimes it takes a minute for the chat to show up on my screen, and I always have a little bit of holding my breath for a second, but I see y'all here now. Awesome. You guys are coming in fast and furious. I can't even read where everyone is from, but I can tell you're from all over. And we've got Durham. Seeing some familiar places roll by. Ireland, Utah, Austin, Canada. Awesome. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. We've had such a great turnout for this first webinar of the year, so I'm really excited about this one, but also everything else that we have planned for the year coming up. So thank you for being here for this very first one of 2023. While y'all are getting situated, I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll. And this poll is just to find out if you already have a Spoonflower shop or not. In our registration, we, as most of you know, since a lot of you submitted questions, I saw a lot of questions that kind of signaled that some people were brand new and some people have been here for a while. So I'm curious what the distribution of this poll is. If you have a Spoonflower shop, not yet, but you're planning one, or if you're just here to learn more info. So go ahead and fill that out, and it'll just help us kind of cater to who is here. All right, so while y'all fill out that, I'm gonna go ahead and get us started here. So if you're brand new to our artist webinars, my name is Jessie Katz-Greenberg, and I'm the artist community manager here at Spoonflower. Welcome, and thank you again so much for joining us for the first artist webinar of the year. I'm excited you're with us today to learn about Spoonflower and what we're focused on in 2023. I'm joined by two amazing speakers. Both are members of our leadership team here at Spoonflower. We have Jane, our director of merchandising and category management. She's going to share with us some top designs of 2022, along with what new and exciting things might be coming down the pipeline in terms of products. And then we'll have Anjana, our head of artist platform and services, who will share a bit about what her teams are working on for artist experience and site updates. We also have Nicole in the comments. She's our social media manager, but today she's helping out moderating in the chat, and she'll be sharing some helpful links along the way. So be sure to say hi to Nicole in chat as well. So before we get to all that exciting stuff, I'm going to quickly get some housekeeping things out of the way. We are recording this webinar, so if you miss any of it, you'll receive a replay immediately following the live event. If for any reason your sound drops out during this, usually it just helps to refresh your browser. So if you have any sound or video issues, go ahead and refresh your browser. But again, if that doesn't work, you're going to receive a replay later today. We received almost 200 questions through the registration for this webinar. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted. So Jane and Anjana will actually cover many of these topics in their presentations, and then we've pulled out the other most popular questions for a short planned Q&A at the end of this webinar. To make sure you're the first to know about upcoming webinars and all things artists at Spoonflower, make sure you sign up for our Spoonflower emails. Nicole will drop that link for you in chat so you can sign up and stay up to date. And then I also just wanted to share a quick note that for this webinar, we're going to stay focused on today's topic, which is 2023 priorities here at Spoonflower. But I saw a ton of questions come in during registration about getting started on Spoonflower, how to market your designs, and things like that. So don't worry, we're going to have webinars for these types of topics coming up throughout the year. But for now, we can share some helpful links in chat for getting started, since we won't be diving deep into those topics today. So these links are going to include our Spoonflower Seller Handbook, which is full of helpful articles for selling on Spoonflower and marketing your designs, a link to a variety of design tutorials that we have available on the Spoonflower blog already, and then the Spoonflower Help Center, which includes info to help you get started, become a verified seller, how to format and upload your designs, all of those technical questions that you might have getting started. So be sure to open up and bookmark or to copy and paste those links so that you can have access to all those helpful resources that I think will be really useful to a lot of you. All right. That was a lot of housekeeping, but we're going to go ahead and jump into our first speaker. So in the chat, please give a warm welcome to Jane. Jane leads Spoonflower's category. Oh, here we go. Jane leads Spoonflower's category management and merchandising teams. This includes sourcing raw materials, building product development specifications, and staying ahead of trends to feature editors' design picks on the right products. With a background in apparel design, Jane has a special place in her heart for textiles and considers herself lucky to work with them every day. When not at work, you can find Jane playing disc golf and digging in the garden. So welcome, Jane. We are so happy to have you here, and I will let you take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessie, and thank you for the warm welcome, everybody. I'm super excited to be here today. Thank you for this opportunity. We're going to go through what's coming up for 2023, but before we do that, wanted to do a quick look back at 2022. So in 2022, fabric was still the #1 category at Spoonflower for now. Our top material by far is Petal Signature Cotton, and it's a utilitarian plain weave cotton that can be used for just about any craft or quilt project. So it's really not too surprising that this is our #1 material. It's followed closely by Minky, which is a super nice plush material. And then linen cotton canvas, poplin, and organic cotton sateen round out our top 5. Wallpaper, I know we've talked about this quite a bit. It continues to be a strong and growing category at Spoonflower, and we do not see this stopping anytime soon. Wallpaper continues to gain popularity as a feature in both new homes and a super important material for home renovations. The great thing is we see wallpaper shift and change over time. So we're seeing this used in new ways. Rather just an accent wall in a home, we're starting to see entire rooms just covered in wallpaper, and also seeing some matching going on. So matching wallpaper and curtains, or even wallpaper on wallpaper like this image. So you're seeing wallpaper in panels displayed on top of even more wallpaper. Peel and stick leads this category with an easy installation process. But we are also seeing a ton of growth in commercial wallpapers used for residential and commercial spaces. It's really becoming a go-to for interior designers. Lastly, rounding out our wallpaper category is grasscloth. Grasscloth is just a few days shy of its 1-year anniversary at Spoonflower, lovingly called Spooniversary. It's perfect for making a statement in entryways, dining rooms, and powder rooms. And the great thing is Spoonflower is one of the very few places that is able to offer such a large range of designs on this unique textured surface. So again, wallpaper growing, and it's not stopping anytime soon. Lastly, home decor. It's another category at Spoonflower that is continuing to have explosive growth. It's small, but continuing to build every single day. Bedding specifically, duvet covers and sheet sets really lead our home decor category. Bedrooms are just a very important space in the home. We use this as our sanctuary for rest. And oftentimes many of us find ourselves working in a bedroom like we hadn't done before. And this space definitely deserves to be filled with all of the designs that we love. Other categories to round out home decor are curtains, throw pillows, and tablecloths. But definitely bedding is leading this category. So let's look into each category a little bit further. The first one up is fabric. We continue to see floral motifs perform well here, along with colorful designs. Nursery themes will always have a top spot in fabric. And honestly, I really wish there was more space on this slide to show all of the most popular designs because there are just so many. We do see some designs stay here at the top of the list for quite some time. And then we do have some that rise to the top as soon as they are uploaded. Next on wallpaper, one of my favorites. Again, growing category at Spoonflower. We're seeing some dark and moody backgrounds raised to the top here. Popular motifs are birds, as we call it, flights of fancy. Their popular motifs are mushrooms, florals, and exotic animals. And full coverage on a wall is an interior designer favorite here. But what we're starting to see too is smaller roll sizes coming through in orders. So we know that smaller rolls are being used in the home in areas above or below chair rails. And oftentimes we commonly see that the selection of wallpaper in a room is also driving paint colors so that you have a really nice put together room. And that all starts with the design of wallpaper that is selected. And looking at scale for wallpaper, large scale designs continue to do really well for wallpaper, where some of the smaller scale designs perform better in fabric. And then last category for a look back of 2022, home decor designs. So these designs are all displayed on bedding, but may not have necessarily sold on bedding. So just wanted to call that one out. As you can see, there is one design here that is very clearly a tea towel. In general, for home decor, we see large and extra large scales succeed in home decor. Bedding is, again, the #1 area of growth here, and we definitely want to keep that momentum at Spoonflower. As we look at other brands, not going to name any names, that offer printed bedding products, Spoonflower has a real right to win here as a destination for printed bedding. So these other brands that are out there, they're able to offer a few designs that are mass manufactured overseas, which is great, but not a lot of design breadth. Spoonflower is able to offer all of these amazing designs. We're able to custom make duvets and bed sheets in the US and ship it to your door faster than ever before. Our operations team has been working hard to make sure we can keep turn times down low and get these products delivered to you very quickly. So a real right to win in bedding. All right, great look back at 22, but now we're already 1 month into 2023, so let's talk about what's coming. And it shouldn't be any surprise, but more bedding. We're looking at new sizes, so crib, as you can see as a hint in this photo, Twin XL and California King are the new sizes that we're looking at. Sheet separates are also in the works. So this will allow more ability to create custom looks with a unique fitted sheet and flat sheet. And we hope that this will just create even more unique looks in bedding that customers can fall in love with and shop directly on the site. This is very much in the works. We hope to have these options added in the back to school and fall season. So a real preview of what we are really, truly working on every single day at Spoonflower. We've also just taken a deep dive into our bedding products, and we're making sure that we're finessing all of the fit details, all of the trim details to make sure that we have the absolute best product to take to market out there. I do want to just kind of call out our amazing product development team we have here. So we're not sitting around just shopping catalogs of blank bedding products like you might see at other print-on-demand places, but we are really, truly speccing every single detail. So like the fabric, trims, construction, everything, we are calling out and making a custom product at Spoonflower. So through all this work from the team, we are so excited to finally be able to offer these new sizes and hope to have those in the back to school fall timeframe. The team is also super hard at work, probably right at this moment, working on prototypes for velvet, linen, and blackout curtains. We know that these fabrics and curtains will be sought after as what's called our key item in 2023. So we've really just kicked this project off this week, but also look towards an introduction around fall. And this would be in addition to the curtains we already offer today in linen, cotton, canvas, and cypress. And lastly, we're also hard at work improving a curated shopping experience that will allow customers to shop an entire look. So you'll see a bed over here on the right. They'll be able to look for a curated bedding look that they can see, fall in love with, and just want in their homes immediately, and be able to easily find the designs and navigate towards adding a duvet cover, coordinating pillows, coordinating sheet sets, all into their cart so that they can recreate this bedding look for themselves within their own homes. And not on the slide, it's a bit too early to share, but we will be launching an entire new category at Spoonflower this year. Again, this won't be an early in the year thing. We're still hard at work. So more to come here, but you can expect a new category at Spoonflower in about the same kind of fall timeframe. And then another one of what you're not seeing here is an expansion of fabric and wallpaper materials. So we're always testing new materials, but for 2023, we really want to focus on the products that we have today and the ones that you're seeing on this slide. When it comes to new materials, it takes about a year or so from when we start sourcing and testing these to get them live on the site. So we're hard at work in 2023 for products that will ultimately be available in 2024. And probably my favorite slide in this section is looking at top styles for 2023. Emerson Jones is our style expert at Spoonflower. I know you've all heard from her before. She has identified these 8 styles that we will continue to see growing in our wallpaper and home decor categories. Emerson is a wizard. She blends the world of art and data to identify these styles. What she's doing is she's looking at top selling designs. She's looking at the newly uploaded designs every single day, and also using industry leading trend resources such as WGSN and Fashion Snoops to pull all of these styles together. Now, some designs certainly fit within more than one style segment, and that's a great thing. It's nice to see some of the top duvet designs from 2022 fit really nicely into that niche antique style segment, and those wallpapers with the dark grounds fitting into our dark and moody worlds. Exotic animals will be a focal point in wild glamour, and there's still a continued need and desire for traditional and clean and simple designs. So we don't see this going away. So super excited to see all of the new designs and all of the new looks coming together. We'll be focusing on featuring these style segments throughout the entire year, and you'll continue to see new looks within these style segments. It's really exciting because it's something that can only be offered at Spoonflower.
Thank you so much, Jane. That was fantastic. I could see a lot of the excitement coming through on chat. So everyone's really looking for a hint at that new category, but we're going to keep that top secret for right now. soon. All right. Thank you so much, Jane. That was fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and invite our next speaker up to the stage. Give us just 1 minute here for the changeover. All right. So next up, we have Anjana. Go ahead and show Anjana some love in the chat. With a product engineering left brain masterfully intertwined with a decidedly right-brained instinct for what Spoonflower artists want and need, Anjana moved from heading up Spoonflower's design platform on home goods, which some of you might remember as Roostery. She moved to VP positions in both engineering and finished goods and product engineering to now serving as head of artist platform and services. She fearlessly takes on projects that have never been done before, and I'm so excited to welcome her here today to share a little bit about what her team is working on. So go ahead and take it away, Anjana.
Hey everyone, so good to be here. Thanks for having me, and thank you to whoever wrote the bio for me. That was, I have to use that in more places. I wanted to start by sharing a little bit about what is ultimately a change and how our product and engineering teams work today. Last year in 2022, we actually introduced 2 separate teams. So we've had multiple teams before, but what we really did was create a new organization that was very specifically focused on the artist platform and services. And so today we have sister orgs, the artist platform and services, and e-commerce and shopping. And inside each of those, we have robust teams in product management, user experience, user interface, and engineering. And so I'm really excited about this change, both because we were able to recruit a really robust team for this, but also because we're specifically focused on the platform and services that serve our artist community. Next slide, please. I wanted to walk through a little bit of what we'll be focusing on in 2023 and some of what you can expect, particularly in the first half of the year, but also through the full year. And so first up, we are improving our tax verification process. So those of you who have been with Spoonflower a while, or maybe are even new to the platform, may have experienced some of the problems and friction points that exist here today. We are frustrated with the amount of feedback that is given in that process. It's a hard to understand process for first-time artists. And in the case where your documents need additional review by our finance team, this can take longer. And ultimately what that does is prevent your ability to make things for sale. And so today we have a home rolled solution along with Right Signature, which we use in the background to help with the form process. We're actually moving away from Right Signature and to a partner that's specifically focused on tax form upload and validation. So what that will mean is a slightly updated flow, but also the back-end system that's supporting it is specifically set up to validate that the information is correct and in the correct places, hopefully reducing that time as well as increasing the accuracy of the information. And really what that means is that it just ensures a smoother 1099 process, a smoother pathway to getting set up as a seller on Spoonflower, and less bugs in the process. Next up, design challenges. Again, design challenges we've had for a long time. They're such an amazing and colorful and creative part of the Spoonflower community. We host design challenges weekly, and the platform that we do this on is our own. And there are some key optimizations we feel are possible here. Promotion specifically of your own designs, but of the design challenges in general is challenging. If you're a first-time voter or aren't logged in, it can be a confusing process. It doesn't work super well on your phone. The feedback loop errors, this is a common theme, are challenging to understand. And then for our internal teams, actually administering and running the challenges is both complex and time consuming. And, when that happens, obviously there's opportunity for errors as well. And so we're really looking to solve a lot of these issues with an update to this platform. The initial release that we'll do in the coming months will have big changes for our internal teams, but also for voters and artists alike. And really, we're taking a lot of feedback from the past, as well as data that we see in terms of how folks are interacting with this to drive forward what our new experience is like. We're really excited to get this out in the first half of the year. Design listing and data enrichment, not the prettiest of titles, but super important to designs being found by customers. And so what we've identified as key problems to solve for here are that our design tags that are added by artists don't always correlate to what our customers are searching for. And that tagging and titling process is a really big way to create that connection and to show up ultimately. And so we want to solve for that by adding more guidance and making it easier to really tag according to what people are searching for. That blends into the second one here in terms of unclear guidance. We know that it is hard to know like a playbook or to be discovered as a new artist. We're doing a lot of great content in that, but we also want our platform to support that and make it really seamless. And along with design data, we also think about like listing data, and the richness of our listing is often, you can think of it as the data, but also the images that come with it. We have a very unique problem to solve in terms of imagery. We have such a large marketplace and so many products. We really need to rely on computer generated imagery, but we still want to be able to compete with competitor home deck and fabric sites out there that are able to photograph everything. So that accuracy and beauty of that platform is continues to improve, and we look forward to refreshing a lot of our product images this year, as well as testing to ensure they are images that customers are attracted to, and increases the rate at which they're purchasing our products. And one of our big initiatives for the year, last but not least, is design creation and management. So everyone here knows these problems even better than I do, but to summarize, the design upload and file upload process is slow. The proofing process is more confusing than it needs to be. There's not enough information on how to set up a successful design. We have some visibility today, but still less than ideal in terms of what products Spoonflower actually offers and what products your design is available on. Configuration at a product level. So when Spoonflower started, it was a fabric company and it increased to wallpaper, and it was like that for a long time. But as we've really started to build and grow home decor, we have this need to allow artists to configure their designs specific to those products as well. And then lastly, we know a lot of artists upload color variations and scale variations of the designs, and we want to be able to cross-link those, both as the artist defines them, but then for the shopper as well. And this is a big focus for us this year, and given the nature of what we're trying to move from and trying to create a seamless and smoother process in that transition, we're going to release a lot of this in phases. And so what I wanted to do was give a little bit of a walkthrough of our first release and some of the things that you can expect to come with that, as well as talking a little bit about how that will iterate in the future. Give me 1 second while I share my screen. Can everyone see my screen? Okay, I'm starting to see some yeses. So assume you've just gone through a faster than it is today design upload process. In the case that there's an issue with your design or file, you've gotten better feedback about that. We plan to increase the file size limit, and then you'll land here. And so, as we work through this year and over the coming years, our big goal is creating more of a product configuration interface here for artists, where they can really customize the design on each of the products that we offer. But as I mentioned, this will come in multiple releases. So at the beginning, our first goal is to at least give more transparency. So as this design is uploaded, and because this artist is opted into home decor, which most artists are, this design is available on 19 products. And if you click and scroll down, you'll actually get to see all of these inside of the shop interface. In selling and search, some common things come over like description and tags, but we also move to a more taxonomy and codified driven interface where you can classify your design with style, pattern and technique, seasonal, and probably other items over time. This will really help set your design up across products for success. And these drop downs are driven by data that we've gotten from search on our own site, search on third-party marketplaces, as well as search on Google and search engines. And we'll update these over time to really ensure we're allowing for an easy to find and easy to filter experience for shoppers, but one where you can still classify your designs according to what makes sense for you and what inspired you when you were creating the design. Add to collections will be front and center here. We know collections are a great tool for curation inside your library, as well as launching like limited sets and looks. And we know that collections will, be improved over time. And so we want to ensure that that stays front and center. A lot of these features will be the same, but presented in a different way. The ability to choose your design preview thumbnail, and how that shows up for customers. A change log where you're able to audit and see, changes that you've made to your design, as well as just track that over time in case you're forgetting when the last time you updated something was. Eventually, we want to have this ability for you to edit the design per product, right? So you would have the ability to configure that on a per product basis. In our first release, this will continue to only be on fabric and wallpaper, but this pattern and this interaction sets us up to be able to introduce this to each product over time. And then lastly, one thing I wanted to call out is that today we do have a way for artists to set up their design for tea towels and wall hangings, but it's rather hidden, and you kind of have to know how to do it. And so while we're not able to totally fix the system in our first release, we do hope to make it a little bit easier, where if you uploaded something that is a fat quarter design and is really relevant on wall hangings or tea towels, you can come in here and designate that this is in fact a design that should be rotated for those two products. And when you do that, it'll take care of some of the behind the scenes work, like tagging it appropriately, as well as setting it up to just be on the products where it's most applicable. We'll stop sharing now and hop back into the presentation. Okay, so talking a little bit about testing. Why do we test features? So first, a quick overview. There's different ways we try to get feedback from users, and we believe that user feedback is a really important part of our product and engineering process. User interviews, moderated user tests, that's where we're on a call with someone and someone on our end is driving the interface, but asking questions and waiting for responses. Unmoderated user tests, that's where you might have a clickable prototype or a working small application, and then you record how users interact with that. And then lastly, split tests or A/B tests, where we actually launch something out in the wild, but it's only available to a subset of users. And by doing that, we actually measure the same metrics across both groups. We call them the control and the variant. And then we're able to see, did the key metrics we think will have change, and by how much. Split testing specifically really gives us a data-driven approach to answer the question of, does this feature actually improve the experience? And then for split testing, the volume of data that we get is unmatched in terms of, in comparison to some of these other testing techniques. All of these are important in a product lifecycle process and a product-led iterative process, but wanted to talk about split tests a little bit and share a split test that will be coming up in the next few weeks. And so the work here has actually largely been done by our e-commerce team, so definitely don't want to take credit for it, but wanted to share a little bit. We're doing a test where we'll measure the effectiveness of colorways and having those designs available in your add to cart area on the product page for shoppers. And so the hypothesis here is that having the colorways on the product page will improve the shopping experience. We'll be measuring a couple of different things, but specifically, what is the rate at which customers add to cart for those who have colorways on the product page versus those that don't? Results of this test really will help us, and results of any test ultimately help us inform our prioritization across, because we have so many things we could be working on at any one point in time. What is the order in which we should do those, both from a technical perspective, but also from an impact to the artist and the shopper? And then lastly, we will be sending out a separate communication to artists about this. So look for that in the coming weeks with more information about how to give feedback and engage in the test. Access to new features and beta testing. So back in 2020 was the last time we actually made a call out for beta testers. We had great response and we were excited to engage some folks over the last few years in that process. Mostly this was inside of moderated user tests and user interviews. This year, we may put out another call for beta testers as we have so many upcoming features. And from that group, we'll randomly select a few based on how many testers are needed for the situation. We usually get great interest in this, and we hope that we continue to, and we'll just keep picking randomly from that group to support the testing we need to do. And then lastly, I wanted to touch on Spoonflower artist designs on Shutterfly. So as a recap, in the end of 2021 and then in 2022, we took designs from Spoonflower and artists from Spoonflower and actually launched them on products that were produced by Shutterfly. This was in an effort to really understand what the demand and interest was from the customer there, as well as how our artist designs matched up with the wide product selection that's available at Shutterfly would do. And so while we plan to continue this in 2023, the exact roadmap for it isn't finalized yet. What I did want to share was some of the priorities we have as we're planning our work. And so we do want to increase our artist inclusion. We want to do a lot more testing, both around which designs and products are interesting to that customer. They're very different than the Spoonflower customer. And also what user journeys or what flows allow for customers to better discover and have interest in these products. There's also a lot of opportunity to increase the artist exposure in that journey. And while we have been paying royalties out quarterly, as well as providing reports on those, we do hope to improve this process over time. And wanted to share a couple of best sellers, I suppose, from last year. So our highest revenue product was this Divers blanket. The most purchased product from a quantity perspective was this notebook, and the most popular design, so this is like design quantity overall products, was this lovely Aliens in Green.
Thank you so much, Anjana. That was, again, a ton of useful info that I see our artists getting very excited about in chat and wanting even more details, but we promise more is coming as these changes get closer. I'm just going to get Jane back up on stage as well, and then we'll dive into some Q&A with a bunch of the questions that y'all submitted upon registration. Welcome back, Jane. All right, so thank you both again. This was so much information already, but we are going to dive into some questions as well. So I mentioned at the beginning that we received a ton of questions from everyone upon registration. So we're going to try and get through some of those most frequently asked here. So let's dive right in. Are large or small scale designs more popular? Jane, do you want to take this one to start?
Sure. The answer is both. It really depends on the product. So when we look at fabric, we oftentimes see smaller scale designs perform better or be more popular in fabric. When we look at home decor, specifically duvets, large and extra large scales do really well there. We see customers really responding well to these huge scales for that. Whereas even within the same category in home decor, like pillows, smaller or medium scale designs work really well there. So I'd say there's definitely a home for all sorts of variety of scales, and having the right scale and the right product is a winning combo.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it really makes sense from the artist point of view to think about the final product while you're designing. So think about designing specifically for wallpaper, think about designing specifically for bedding or specifically for fabric for makers and quilters. And I think that that will also give you a great idea as an artist what scale to start at. And then from there, you can decide what other scales you can offer of that design. And if you're curious too about scales that are trending, not just on Spoonflower, but in the marketplace in general. We've had some great artists like Danica Herrick, one of our ambassadors, talk about scale trends for interior design. So you can always look into a specific niche and see what scales might be trending there too. What about how does Shutterfly's acquisition affect product selection? Jane, you want to take this one as well?
Sure. So it's been about 15 months or so since acquisition. And when you come to Spoonflower, you're still seeing the same products that we've offered for many, many years now, and you'll continue to see those products going forward. Since the acquisition, we've launched 2 new things at Spoonflower, and they're all in wallpaper. So we were on a path to launch those, and we stayed on that path and will continue to do so. The benefit is it does open us up to a network of new suppliers that we had not worked with before. So you're not going to see much of this in 2023, but maybe some new products coming in 2024, but we will remain true to the Spoonflower brand.
Awesome, exciting. All right, why do I see the same designs when I go to the fabric section? Anjana, you want to take this one?
Sure. And Jane alluded to this a little bit earlier too during her presentation. So when a customer searches for fabric or goes to shop fabric, we default to landing on a best-selling sort. And that best-selling sort aggregates sales and engagement data from the past 6 months. And ranks designs accordingly. And so it does, it is on a rolling 6 months basis. So it's not all time. So there's really an opportunity in theory for these to change. Inside of fabric, however, we do see a lot of our bestsellers stay the same, whereas on other product categories, we see more change and more delta over time. If you are interested in seeing some of the up and coming designs or trending things, we do offer a new and trending sort option, or new and trending sort options rather, and you can use either of those to discover. And inside of wallpaper and home decor, we do see more change over time.
Super helpful, thank you. What about, do words in a design title carry more weight in categorization than keywords do? Anjana, why don't you go ahead and take this one as well?
Sure. Today they do. So the title does weigh a little more heavily than tags, but it is worth noting that we are consistently optimizing our search experience and testing, as previously mentioned, in this area. So this may not be true for all time, but today, yes, there is a slightly higher weight for title than for categorization tags.
Awesome. How sustainable are Spoonflower's materials? Jane, why don't you go ahead with this one?
Yes, this is such a great question. And honestly, something we could probably spend an entire webinar on. So I'll just try to dive into a few topics here. We are committed and focused on responsible sourcing and manufacturing practices. This really starts with the print and make on demand model. That allows us to only make what's needed. We don't have overstock inventory. Then overstock inventory typically ends up in discount bins and ultimately landfills. So we do not stock anything. Digital printing is another way that we can lean towards sustainability. It uses less water than conventional printing, and we pay attention to everything that we use. So the inks that we use are certified against harmful chemicals, and this follows the most strict local and global regulations. Quality is another piece here, and we take quality very seriously, and that keeps products around longer. So we know that it's an investment in the product, an investment in the design, and these are products that you're not just going to use once and then throw it away. That's not what we're after. Packaging is another important topic here. So all of our packaging is sourced from post-consumer materials. Last year, we took this seriously and made a change. So we switched from our international supplier to a US-based supplier. That helps bring the process closer to our US facilities without sacrificing recycled materials. So we keep everything in mind when making these decisions. And let's be real, responsible sourcing and manufacturing, it's a huge journey. So we're always looking for ways that we can do better. Last year, we worked on a couple of projects, and this year we'll work on a couple of more that bring sourcing closer to our facilities. We're looking at more preferred fibers in textiles and wallpaper, continuing to recycle our own textile waste, and working with third-party certifications to validate our supply chain practices. And then lastly, I want to touch on one thing that's commonly missed in sustainability, and that is the people element. So just as Spoonflower supports independent artists, our upstream supply chain also supports several communities across the world. We're supporting local economies. We're working with mills that have been experts in the industry for decades. They're not just learning something for the first time, but they are tried and proven experts. And some of our partners are family-owned businesses, and we do not intend for that to change no matter how much we grow. So again, sustainability is a journey, and we are happy that you're along that journey with us.
Awesome. Thank you for being able to share so much info on that here. And I totally agree. Sustainability could absolutely be a webinar all in itself, and maybe one day it will be. All right, I'm new to your platform. How can I make sure my designs are seen? So I'll take this first, and then Anjana, if you have anything to add, feel free to jump in. But I wanted to take this opportunity to share a blog post that we recently published on the Spoonflower blog. Nicole can go ahead and share the link in chat. So this was a post written by Judy Quintero. She's one of our top selling artists. Her shop is Shop Cabin. And she wrote a post how new artists can succeed on Spoonflower, but she really dives deep into how she does her keyword research, how she researches those trends before she even starts designing, and then how she uses that information to choose her tags, titles for her designs, and things like that. And I think that will really help you get started here with just how to make sure your designs are seen. Those tags are really important. And as you saw Anjana share, there are going to be some changes coming on how you add those tags. But I think doing a really great job of that keyword research sometimes even before you start designing, or after you have the design ready before you list it, I think could be super helpful. Anjana, do you have anything you'd like to add here?
Not much. I think I would just add that, while there's a lot of tactics, and it's definitely, I think, a really good read, what Judy has written up, we do also hope to improve our platform over time to handhold this process so that it makes it just easier and easier over time.
Awesome. What would you like to see artists do to be effective collaborators? I love this question. I'll go ahead and take this one, and then if anyone wants to jump in, feel free. So I think the reason for asking this question is that you probably want to be featured or collaborate with us. So I'm gonna back up and tell you a little bit about what I look for, or what we look for when we're looking for artists to feature. And this might be on things like our artist spotlights, sort of those brand marketing features like that. So make sure that your shop is up to date with a banner image, a shop image, your name, location, a bio, and links. I know that sounds like a lot of pieces of information, but they all really play an important part in us getting to know you and your customers getting to know you. Like things like location might come into play if we're looking for some sort of local specific feature. So all of those pieces are really important. It's great if your shop image is a photo or an illustration of yourself. This helps the customer connect with the artist behind the designs, which is something that we definitely look for when featuring artists in things like our monthly artist spotlights that I mentioned. And if you're not comfortable sharing your face, that is totally fine. You could also use your logo or an icon or the name of your brand. Same goes for your name. If you specifically don't want to put your name out there and you have an artist alias, or you just use the name of your shop, that's fine. But I do think, if possible, being able to connect to your name and your face can really go a long way. I get asked a lot, does the amount of designs in your shop matter before we would feature you for something like this? And depending on the feature, that number might not be super important, and it could change depending on what we're looking to feature you for. I would say at a minimum, depending on the feature, I would look for 10 to 20 and above. And then we're always looking for artists with interesting stories or points of view. I think we can all agree what makes our marketplace really special is the unique variety of artists that we have from all over the world. So if you have a unique story to tell, a point of view, and if you're already sharing that through your shop, through your Instagram, things that we are already seeing, even better. And if your shop is updated and you're interested in being featured, we're going to share a link to a post-webinar survey right after this webinar. You'll be redirected there. And I did this time around include just a box for letting us know if you're interested in being featured so that we can possibly start that conversation. So that will be there as well. Would either of you like to add anything for this? Awesome. I'm going to move right along. All right. Will there be opportunities for private label or white label home decor items? Jane, do you want to take this one?
Sure. First, I'm going to start by defining white label, private label. They can kind of be used interchangeably. You can think about this as a Spoonflower product that does not have any Spoonflower branding attached to it as a white label item. So no logos on there. Think of kind of the woven label that you're seeing on a pillow or the hang tags on a sheet set. So that would be white label, and then private label would be Spoonflower product, but with the artist's name or another brand on the item. We are in super, super early stages of exploring private label and white label opportunities right now. At this point in time, I would say we're definitely in the exploration phase. We're working on a couple of opportunities right now. I do recommend that you reach out to our sales team if you have interest in white label or private label at this time. Right now, we are looking at the ability to offer items if there are larger one-time orders with some volume behind it. That really helps make sure that none of these items are mixed up with our normal workflow going through the facilities today. So we're looking at MOQs of about 500 units of an item to be able to offer a white label experience. Again, we can't do it for absolutely everybody at this time, but we are trying to test the waters and see if this is something that we can deliver.
I was on mute there. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jane. And Anjana, I think that was our last. Yeah, so that was our last question, which is great. We're coming up right on time. I was trying to skim through the chat to see some questions, and one that did stand out to me, Anjana, when you were, I think you had mentioned collections, and we got some questions around collections of just how important are they. And I just wanted to share that I've had several artists tell me how useful collections can be for them in their own marketing. So I would definitely say, spend some time on collections. And I'm going to actually share, I pulled it up quick. It's not the whole topic of this article, but we did this blog post about how to pitch your work to interior designers. And our artists that are featured in that post, they share some info on how collections has helped them pitch to interior designers as well. So hopefully that can be of help. And I see some other artists bouncing into the chat to say yes, yes to collections. So I hope that that is helpful. So thank you again so much, Jane and Anjana, for being here. I know that we crammed really a lot into this very short webinar. So thank you for sharing all of your expertise with us. I really appreciate it. And I know that all of our artists do as well. Artists, thank you for joining us. This wraps our first artist webinar of the year. Like I said, we have many more planned for this year. So I have a little favor to ask of you all that I kind of hinted at earlier. When this webinar ends, you will be automatically redirected to a super short survey about this webinar. And just in case, we'll go ahead and share that link in chat as well. I know chat is flying by, so if you miss it, you should be redirected there and you'll receive it in the follow-up email. We really appreciate your feedback because it helps us plan future webinars that will cover the topics that you are most interested in. So thank you in advance for taking the time to fill that out. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining, and we will see you next time. Bye.